Bet horse racing on DRF Bets. We'll match your first deposit of $200. Get free expert picks and past performances, plus weekly cash back. All from Daily Racing Form, the most trusted name in horse racing.
Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, kicking off the first leg of the Breeders' Cup Saturday Pick 6 with race number 6, the Filly and Mare Turf. We're going 1 mile and 3/16. $2 million is the purse. Let's take a look at this field. We have a truly international cast in this race. Nashua, 5-2 on the morning line for the great John Gosden. Just missed last time out over soft going and has a ton of upside potential.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen close to her best race yet. She's shown some real talent from day one, Dan. Ran fine last time, even though she couldn't quite get the job done. I really like this distance for her. There's plenty to get excited about with this filly.
The horse she'll have to catch, however, is In Italian, the number 11. Joel Rosario has the mount for Chad Brown. We throw up the Timeform US pace projector. In Italian has gone to the front in her last 2 races. The Diana at Saratoga, the First Lady at Keeneland. They couldn't catch her. She's going to be playing Catch Me If You Can once again.
Yeah, I mean, she's won 5 times in her career. All 5 of those wins right on the front end. I think we all know what her plan's going to be here.
The number 1 is Lady Spitespear, coming down from Woodbine for the great Roger Attfield. She has won her last 3 races, including this effort in the Grade 3 Seaway, going 7/8 of a mile on Woodbine's Tapeta surface. An effort more game than anything else.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. She did wind up getting the job done here. It wasn't the most impressive win. And I say that as someone who really believes that she might be at her best on this surface, the all-weather surface. She's certainly a good turf horse, though, Dan. I don't really like this distance for her, and I feel like she's in very, very tough against this field.
They may have to rename the Rodeo Drive at Santa Anita the Going to Vegas, because she's won it the last 2 years in carbon copy style. She goes to the front, they leave her alone, she sprints on home. Let's watch the 2022 edition of the Rodeo Drive. She's on the lead, and she is very good when she makes the lead, going 1.25 miles. Now, with In Italian in this race, she's not going to make the lead, but the good news is she has shown the ability to sit and finish.
Yeah, she can do it another way, but you're talking about a mare now whose 2 major wins both came in races where she was able to just get absolutely loose on slow paces, and that is not happening in here.
Nashua is up next, and she could very well be the horse to beat. I love the way she won the Group 1 Nassau 2 starts back on good to firm ground, going 1.25 miles, just sweeping past that field. And then she tried to do it a different way over extremely testing going in France. Let's watch the prestigious Prix de l'Opera going 1.25 miles. Did you think she went for home a little bit early here?
Yeah, maybe, but there were horses just sort of keeping up with her here. And I think maybe her hand was forced a little bit. I don't even really feel like they wanted to necessarily be on the lead with her in this race, Dan, but that's where she wound up from a long way out. And I like the way that she goes for home here. That's Tuesday in the pink silks right to her outside, who's also in this race. Tuesday chased her for a long way. She's going to finally throw in the towel here. And it looks like Nashua might get it done, but here comes a big closer from out of it to run her down. I still thought she ran well. I liked all of her starts before that one, Dan. I think she's going to be tough in here.
And not only did Place du Carousel run down Nashua, but Above the Curve was right next door to the number 4. She was making up some late ground as well. She ran a nice third, and she's also very progressive. She only has 6 lifetime starts, and she's a proven commodity in Group 1 class, at least against 3-year-olds. She won the Prix Saint-Hilaire 3 back.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you could see this filly take a forward move here in this race as well. She ran fine, only a nose behind Nashua last time. I think Nashua ran the better race, but this filly still ran really well in there. We haven't seen her best yet.
I think Tuesday's a little bit dirtied up, Mike, and I think some folks are going to disagree. They're going to say that she's a bit exposed after her win in the Epsom Oaks, but the Epsom Derby, she was favored against the boys. She faced a tough field there. She ran into an extremely good filly in the Yorkshire Oaks 3 starts back, and I think the ground worked against her in France in her last 2 races. Soft going both times, and last time out in the race we just saw, she broke from an impossible post position and was very wide the first 2-3 furlongs before engaging Nashua. I think she'll be more patiently handled here.
I do too, and I don't really mind them. I don't mind the shorter distance for her. She's okay going a little longer, but I think she might be a little bit better around this kind of a trip. And I think your point about the ground is very well taken, Dan. Getting over firmer ground could really help this horse.
Mise en Scène is up next. We see her up close, according to the Timeform US pace projector. She was relatively close to the pace in her one and only start in North America. That was last year's Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf, where she was only beaten 4 lengths by Pizza Bianca. She ran well last time out. I think she needs to prove her mettle against Group 1 competition. I'm not sure she's there just yet.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with all that stuff. I do think she's mildly interesting, though, at a big price in here. If only because I thought she was a really good 2-year-old. I liked her 3 starts before the Breeders' Cup, and I just personally don't think the Breeders' Cup trip worked out for her at all. She broke from the far outside. Her rider decided to get a little aggressive with her there, and they just sent her up, and she got caught wide around the track chasing the pace. I actually felt like it was sort of an underrated performance. She hasn't gotten much of a campaign together yet so far, Dan, but last time I really think she took a step in the right direction when they stretched her out to 1.25 miles.
I really love the versatility shown by the beautifully bred 3-year-old filly Toy, the number 7. She ran very well in the Irish Oaks at 1.5 miles, finishing second. She won going a mile over soft going last time out, but now she's taking a giant step up in class for an absolute great Hall of Fame trainer in Aidan O'Brien.
Yeah, she's got the connections in her corner, and I think she's lightly raced enough too to sort of stay on the positive side of. She did face Nashua over the summer and just got absolutely buried by that horse, so she's got something to find, but it does feel like she's getting better.
Family Way, the number 8, seems to show up each and every time. She has hit the board in her last 7 starts, but she's only won one of those races, and that was going 1.5 miles in the Grade 3 Orchid. She was wired last time out by going to Vegas, and it seems that's been the story recently. She's been wired. Well, she's going to get more pace this time around. It's whether she's good enough.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's not like she's a one-run closer, though. I mean, she's one of those horses who tends to get good trips in her races, and I just feel like she's probably a cut below true Grade 1 competition.
Rougier is up next. She was 7th in the 2021 Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf, going 1 3/8 miles. She was off slow and kind of checked in the opening furlong in that race, checked on the far turn. She got back to her best form despite being checked last time out in the EP Taylor. We're going to pick up the replay a little bit later. You can, of course, go into your Formulator past performances, click on the short comment. A horse forced Rougier out, and she was checked on the backstretch. She had to give up a lot of ground. You're going to see Moira dive to the inside and knock another horse off stride. There was a lot going on in this race. Rougier kicked on, though, very well in the last 1/8.
Yeah, she's going to eventually get there. I don't know, Dan. I guess she ran fine in here. She did check on the backstretch. I wasn't sure that it necessarily cost her that much. It takes her forever, but she finally does surge up at the end here in a race that I kind of felt like came back to her a little bit to allow her to get the job done. I don't really know what to say. She was a decent horse in France. I'm not a big fan of hers. I don't like her form since she's arrived in North America. I don't want to bet her in here.
Virginia Joyce coming off a 2-month layoff, and the layoff's understandable because I'm sure she's been in jail. She committed a robbery last time out in the Grade 2 Flower Bowl. She stole this race on the front end. These fractions are correct, folks. 53-1, 119-2 in a major Grade 2 stakes race at Saratoga. Warlike Goddess is going to be one of the favorites in the Breeders' Cup Turf later, is going to make a strong run. She was probably best in this race, but all credit to Arad Ortiz. He walked the dog up front.
Yeah, I mean, she did take advantage in that race, but it was just another good performance from this mare, Dan. She's actually been pretty good since she arrived here for Chad Brown, and I think she has the right running style for this kind of a race. She doesn't need to be on the lead, but she's going to be up close. She's far from impossible in here.
Do you think this distance is a bit sharp for her? I know she's done good running at 1.25 miles. Of course, her big win in the very one over Family Way came at 1 3/8 miles.
Yeah, she's probably a little better going longer, but I don't think that precludes her from being very effective in this race if she gets the right trip.
And here's the key to the race. The speedy number 11 in Italian, who's won her last two races with buyers of 102 and 104, including this performance in the First Lady going a mile at Keeneland, where she went to the lead. This is a good field of fillies and mares behind her. Regal Glory we'll see in the Breeders' Cup Mile later. And in Italian just doesn't stop. And her race in the Diana was sort of a carbon copy of this performance. She's the speed. The question is, can she get the distance?
Right. I mean, a mile and 3/16. Is it too far for her? I'll be surprised, Dan, if it's the distance that gets her beat. I think it's just sort of the question of can she get another trip like she's gotten in her last two starts where she's just turned loose in those races with nobody going after her. And I don't want to say, that she, necessarily totally took advantage in those races because she still ran well. But man, did she have all the best of it both times.
The talented Canadian filly is up next, and that's Moira, winner of the Queen's Plate at a mile and a quarter in dominating fashion. And we saw the trouble in the E.P. Taylor last time out. In behind horses in upper stretch, had to bull her way through down towards the inside. It got a little bit tight for her, and she was running on. She has upside. It'll be interesting to see what sort of trip she pulls, breaking from the far outside and dealing with a speed right next door.
Yeah, I think that's true. More than anything else, and I think she is really talented. I don't love the EP Taylor as a race overall. It's the only time we've seen her on the grass. I personally won't be betting her off that performance, but I don't think I'd be that surprised if she took a step forward here. She's looked pretty good along the way.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Breeders' Cup, filly and mare turf. Mike, we're both going with Nashua. I think she's progressive. I liked her race last time out. Very, very game after battling on the lead. She looks very tough.
I think she does too. I stuck with the Europeans in here, Dan. I'm a little afraid of an Italian just sort of getting to the lead again and taking this field all the way, but I'm going to stick with the Europeans in here.
We're both going with the 3. Mike's going 3, 4, 6, 11. I'm going 3, 11, 4, 5. I want to use a little bit of Tuesday, however, in multiple race wagers, especially if the ground is firmer. We'll see if Nashua can kick off the first leg of the Pick 6 on Breeders' Cup Saturday.